And it is my pleasure to open the graduation ceremony and thank the incredible staff here at Springford, not only for this night, but also for being there for each of us during our many years here. We truly have been lucky to have an administration and staff so dedicated to cultivating our passions. On behalf of the class of 2017, I would like to thank the families here to celebrate our graduation. And specifically, I would also like to thank my parents and my brother for having to deal with my incessant ramblings. Reflecting on our time together, much has changed throughout the years, like no more field day, no more recess, no more Susie Joe's donuts at lunch, but we have probably gained something even better, like a quarter-mile school to cross, perpetual traffic jams by the cafeteria, and gym quizzes. On a serious note, we have gained extensive knowledge not just about school subjects, but also about ourselves. While here, I've come to recognize a few certainties in life. One is that the class of 2017 will be unforgettable. We'll go down as the class that had the audacity to yell to the seniors, "This is our house," when we were only sophomores at the homecoming pep rally. As the class that witnessed the momentous loss of PV's basketball team when a kid stormed the court. As the last class that was exclusively born in the 20th century, and thus allowed our teachers to still feel young. Another certainty I've learned is that our future is to be determined, and we need to embrace who we are. I was born a hardcore introvert. This made me an incredibly anxious child. As in, I would have been the textbook example Ms. Miscavige could use in AP Psych. Today, I am proud to say I am now just a very anxious person. Speaking in front of over 4,000 people, commemorating the graduation of more than 500 students. I used to believe that my introversion was a form of social dysfunction. But over the years, as I have practiced and grown a little more extroverted, I have also realized that being introverted is a fundamental aspect of who I am as a person, and that does not necessarily imply negative connotation. We can grow, no doubt, but there also must be a point where we realize some parts of us don't need changing and are powerful in their own right. It is essential we understand this during the times in our lives that we have to make decisions. Not the decisions where we debate if we should actually read the book, spark note it, or conveniently forget about it while we watch another episode of Shameless. I'm talking about a real stop you in your tracks decision, where there isn't an obvious answer. So when we reach this point, we need to know what we want. Often, we tie ourselves down. I have noticed that it's not always the restrictions by other people that are our greatest inhibitions. Our fear of expression, fear of ourselves, is what holds us from greatness and blinds us from our potential. And overcoming that self-imposed adversity begins, continues, and ends with you trusting yourself. Not the self society claims you are, not the self you believe that you are supposed to be. I am talking about the manifestation of the self that is uninhibited and unrestricted. Our greatest moments of strength, of courage, of purpose occur when we see ourselves with an honest eye. Our future is to be determined. Who gets to shape that future, who gets to mold it into something meaningful, something happy, is up to us. Make yourself the champion of your future.
Good evening, administration, faculty, and family. And hello, class of 2017. Leading up to this very day, we've gone through 12 years of school, from first grade to senior year. That's 2,160 days of waking up at an ungodly hour each morning, hitting the snooze button a countless number of times, and eventually making our way to school. That's 14,400 hours of experiences together, from discussing Shakespeare, applying the quadratic formula, and learning the wonderful art of pickleball. That's 51,840,000 seconds full of memories, some of which we will inevitably forget and others that we will cling to. In a sense, school has been a paradox. Numbers, grades, and test scores have seemed to define us during our high school careers. However, we are all well aware that numbers themselves are an inaccurate representation of us. Statistics cannot capture individuals as memories and raw experience can. Recently, Mrs. Barnett expressed to me that if I have experienced high school without inhibition, I am bound to leave small pieces of my heart here. And I will. I'll leave a part of me behind in the carpeted vocal room that I found a home in, a part in classrooms where I learned about life alongside subject material, and a part in people who I've known for years, and others who I've grown close to in shorter periods of time. Now, it probably comes as no surprise that music kids like myself are quite in touch with our emotions. When I first joined vocal ensemble, Mrs. O'Day introduced to me much more than just vocal technique and music theory. One part of rehearsing that has never gotten old has been the strange ritual that somehow doesn't seem so strange to me anymore. The entire ensemble sits in a circle on stage in the pitch-black auditorium with our eyes shut, simply singing together. And yeah, the first time I took part in this, it felt just as bizarre as it sounds. But as time went on, I began to revel in that unparalleled sensation. And as we all sat there and allowed our voices and the harmonies and discordances to envelop us into one entity, it didn't feel like rehearsal at all. It felt like a sense of community and of belonging. Through our years here, I felt the sort of unity with the tennis team, other vocal groups, and our self-proclaimed Calc Squad. And I hope that each of you have found the same feeling of kinship within your own sports teams, clubs, musical groups, and classes. From our times at Applebee's late into the night, to after-school Wawa runs that are so iconic to Springford, we've created timeless moments that were saved in our minds rather than our camera rolls. Although we will leave pieces of ourselves behind, we will also carry the knowledge and memories gained through our years here. We'll smile at the ridiculous outfits we wore during our first Spirit Week in freshman year, and laugh at the even more ridiculous get-ups we wore during our final one. We'll probably grimace at our pictures in irreplaceable yearbooks, and softly smile at the messages we wrote to one another. We'll chuckle at daily insignificant conversations we had, and we'll choke up at the more serious ones we still remember. I hope that each of you has lived moments that you knew you would come back to, time and time again. I hope that each of you continues to make memories that, while you may not remember the specific date or time or picture, will remain with you because you will remember so intensely the emotions associated with those moments. So being the already nostalgic and not so edgy person that I am, I now try to mindfully appreciate the little things slightly more than usual. I cherish the half-baked cookies in our cafeteria, and I value each memorable conversation with the unforgettable Mr. Homa. I treasure each car ride jam session with my brother, and appreciate every family dinner with my parents, where my mom continues to inspire me with her passion for her career, and my dad never fails to pique my interest with random NPR news stories. I am eternally grateful to my grandparents who have traveled from India to be here tonight, and a piece of my heart remains with those of mine who I wish could have seen me graduate. Moving forward, I encourage all of you to do the same wherever you end up today. Acknowledge how much each moment is worth, recognize how fleeting our time with certain friends and family is, and let go of any reservations of showing our true selves. Leaving pieces of our hearts here and wherever life takes us is inevitable, but those fragments of ourselves are glued together by the memories made.
Good evening. On behalf of the Springford Area School District staff, administration, and board of directors, I sincerely congratulate each and every one of you on your commencement this evening. 2017, wow, has time flown. Can you believe it? It seems like just yesterday everyone was stressed about the transition from your favorite year, 1999, to the year 2000. We all worried, would our computers crash at the stroke of midnight, 2000? Many parents, including myself, worried about what would lie ahead in the 21st century for the new little ones in our lives, you. Then, in a blink of an eye, we found ourselves not only deep in the new century, but preparing ourselves for your high school graduation. We've watched you grow from a cute little baby to a mature young adult. Throughout that journey, We have traveled miles and miles and miles to attend hours and hours and hours of sporting events, musicals, concerts, competitions, recitals, and more. We have taught, coached, parented, and found every reason to consider you the best in the classroom, on the field, the court, stage, and home front. And more recently, we have argued, debated, and disagreed with one another. Throughout all of it, we have laughed, cried, and celebrated. Time moves at an incomprehensible pace. As each of you embarks on the next phase of life's journey, I remind you that time is short. Embrace all of life's opportunities. Craig Sager, a sports television personality who recently lost his battle with cancer, shared, "Time is not something that can be bought. It is not something that can be wagered with a higher being, and is not in endless supply. Time is simply how you live your life." This became more evident when Springford lost one of our most loved and dedicated individuals. Steve Bonnetts, the voice of Springford. Steve lived his life to its fullest. Steve was always positive, friendly, outgoing, happy, and without a doubt one of Springford's finest. Tonight we send our condolences to the Bonnetts family, and in honor of Steve, I urge you to make each day count. As you leave the hallways of the high school, I wish you only the best. I encourage all of you to cherish time and embrace every opportunity ahead. Congratulations to the class of 2017. This evening, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing a special group of individuals. As is our tradition, we have invited the 50th year reunion class to join us for our commencement ceremonies. Seated to my left in the home bleachers, and I ask them to stand now, please join me in welcoming the class of 1967. Welcome home. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Barry Schaefer, President of the Springford Alumni Association, to make a special presentation. Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you, Dr. Nugent. I offer my greetings from the Springford Alumni Association and congratulations to the class of 2017. As president of the Springford Alumni Association, I'm here tonight to recognize a distinguished alum who, like you, has graduated from Springford. This individual followed her dream and made a significant impact in her profession, her community, and her nation. The Springford Alumni Association has established a Springford Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame Award that is presented yearly during commencement exercises. This year's recipient will receive a plaque, and a duplicate plaque will be placed in the hallway across from the auditorium and the gym entrance in the high school. Our recipient for this year is Yasmin Mustafa, a graduate of the class of 1999. She was known for her tenacity, ambition, and anything's possible mindset. Yasmin was born and lived in Kuwait until she and her family were evacuated to the United States from a bomb shelter at the beginning of the First Gulf War. She graduated from Montgomery County Community College with an associate's degree in 2003. And later on, Yasmin attended part-time at Temple University while working to pay for her education. She graduated from Temple summa cum laude in 2006 with a degree in entrepreneurship. She founded her first company, 123 Linkit, in 2009 and was acquired by a prominent Silicon Valley firm 2 years after she founded it. Later on, Yasmin founded the Philadelphia chapter of Girl Develop It, a nonprofit organization that provides low-cost opportunities and encouragement for women to learn web and software development. She's a member of the board on the Coded for Kids, a nonprofit program that helps city kids learn to write and to serve. Also on the advisory board of Tech Girls, an organization designed to encourage girls in middle school to consider careers in technology. Yasmin became a U.S. citizen on April 19th in 2012. She then traveled around South America for 163 days, during which she encountered women who were victims of violence. This caused her to consider ways to help prevent women from being victims of assault. Yasmin is presently the CEO and founder of Roar for Good, which she saw her idea of a practical, fashionable, personal safety device that can be used to seek assistance when women feel unsafe. Her invention was featured in radio and TV ads for Temple University, and Yasmin's honors include Philadelphia City Hall Small Business Woman Leader, Philadelphia Magazine Best Philadelphians 2006 Entrepreneur of the Year, BBC Magazine 100 Inspirational Influential Women of 2016, Upstart Top 100 Inventors, Philadelphia Geek Award Technologist of the Year 2016, and Rad Girl, Innovator of the Year 2016. Yasmin was featured on CNN, CNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, Huffington Post, and Entrepreneur Magazine. For her dedication to her profession, her commitment to her community, and the pride she brings to the Springford area, the Springford Alumni Association proudly presents the 2017 Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame Award to Miss Yasmin Mustafa.
So one thing you should learn is that the bios always make you sound better than you are. So that's lesson number one. 18 years ago, when I walked on this stage, I was known as the 7-Eleven girl. Not because I loved Slurpees, which I did, but because my family owned the 7-Eleven, actually, that's right across the street. When I graduated, I was not at the top of my class. I was nowhere near popular. I was made fun of for my accent, for being different. I would be picked close to last in gym class. I remember the last year of school, I so didn't want to go that I would rack up the late demerits coming in. And 18 years ago, I could not wait to get the hell out of Royersford. Now, little did I know that it would actually set up my path for me to figure out what I wanted to do, and that it would also set me up to build some pretty amazing companies and touch many lives. So let me give you a little background into my story in the hopes that it helps inspire you to make your mark in the world. One of my earliest memories is being in a bomb shelter. I'm 8 years old. I'm sitting next to my mom, my dad, my 5 brothers and sisters, and bombs are dropping all around us. The ground is shaking. The windows are rattling. Everywhere I turn, I see people crying and screaming. And I remember thinking to myself, will I live to see my 9th birthday? All of a sudden, 2 men burst into the bomb shelter, and they yell out my little brother's name, Mahmoud Mustafa. And what happened next completely changed my life. You see, my parents had taken a trip to Philadelphia that summer, and my little brother was born here in Philadelphia. Fast forward a few weeks, they're back in Kuwait when Saddam Hussein decides to invade the country for its oil. And those two men were actually deployed by the embassy to go and collect all American citizens out of the country for their safety. And because he had just been born here, we got to come along. So they told us we had 1 hour to pack 2 bags among the 8 of us. And they brought us to Philadelphia, September 21st, 1990. Now, if you've ever moved, you know how difficult it is to leave everything that's familiar, to leave your neighborhood, maybe your family, your community. Amplify that by not knowing the language, by not having any roots, by not knowing the culture. It was incredibly tough, but especially for my dad. My dad was a renowned mechanical engineer. A lot of immigrants, when they come here, lose their degree. He had to start from the very bottom. He swallowed his pride and ended up buying that 7-Eleven store, which became a family business. All of us would walk over after school and work there. The register, stock up the shelves, the cooler. Fast forward a few more years, I'm now a junior. I'm 15, I was the youngest in my class, and I'm applying for colleges. I come across this form asking me for a social security number. I didn't know what it was, so I went to my parents. They reached out to a lawyer, and we discovered some shocking news. That even though we had been intentionally plucked out of the bomb shelter and brought over, we were considered illegal, undocumented. We could be deported at any moment. That was really when I felt like an outsider. Because I watched my friends get their permits, their driver's permits, and then their driver's license, and then their college admissions papers, wondering why a 9-digit number on a little blue piece of paper could hold so much power. I ended up graduating. A few months after graduating, my family sold the 7-Eleven store. And a few months after that, one day abruptly, my dad packed 2 bags and hopped on a one-way flight to Jordan. We found out the next day he had left us penniless. He had taken all the family savings with him. It was really tough, but we all banded together, and we took the only jobs you can when you're broke and undocumented, under-the-table jobs. For almost 7 years, I made $5 an hour, working multiple jobs, where double shifts were the norm, not the exception. And then 9/11 happened. I walked into one of my jobs the next day, and my manager turned to me and said, "Yasmin, you don't know how to fly planes, do you?" And then I was fired. Things turned around when I went to school. At first, I couldn't go. My mom stormed down to the Montgomery County Community College admissions office and refused to leave until they let me enroll. I ended up getting my associates there, and then I found my way at Temple. Temple was a complete turning point for me. When I was in high school, I don't want to say my only friend, but Mrs. Conrad, my English school teacher, is the only person that I've kept in touch with. And in college, that person, Mr. Pavlidis, he was the very first person to look directly into my eyes and say, "Yasmin, I believe in you." I had never heard those words before. And as you know, I went on to graduate. Very proud, it's one of my greatest accomplishments. And then just 5 years ago, on April 19th, 2012, at exactly 10:39 a.m., one of my dreams came true, and I became a United States citizen. Thank you. I no longer felt like an outsider. I knew I couldn't be deported at any moment. I finally felt like someone with an identity, someone with a voice, someone who belonged. And I share all those experiences because they shaped me into the person that I am today. I have no regrets. I have learned you cannot grow without struggle. They go hand in hand. Not working at the 7-Eleven or being undocumented, maybe I would not have the strong work ethic that I have today. I know I have that as a result of those experiences. Being an outsider, I work in male-dominated fields. I, as a woman, can come in with a different perspective and provide different ideas, a different outlook to the same problems. And all those obstacles have helped me become resilient. I can handle adversities a little bit easier. I am living proof that you can live through adversity and do some amazing things. Class of 2017, you are about to embark on the next stage of your life. And no matter what you do, if you go to college, get a job, take some time off, there's no right and wrong way. I have learned that no matter how much you plan, how meticulous you are, well organized you are, that life has its own plans. And what it's really about is figuring out how you face those curveballs. And really, it's how you adapt to them. Just so you know, I didn't change my major once, twice, or 3 times. I changed my major 4 times in college. It took me almost 8 years to graduate. Now, I had a good excuse. I had 2 jobs, and I was putting myself through school, but still, that's a long time. I graduated just shy of my 26th birthday. And I lived at home till I was 29 years old. Now, my friends made fun of me, but hey, look at me now. And, and parents, I'm not trying to give them any ideas, but I saved a ton of money. I was able to use that as startup capital for my first business, and it did get acquired, so just saying. I can promise that, without a doubt, that life isn't going to work out the way that you plan. But I promise you that if you believe in yourself, if you maintain a positive attitude, if you work your butt off, and you learn to stay nimble, that you will find your own way. And if I could leave you with any message at all, I'll leave you with these. One of the things that I've learned is not to set goals, to set visions instead. Goals are temporary, they're limiting, they're rigid. But visions can have you see far, and life doesn't obey deadlines. And related to that, you can't be what you can't see, and you can't be what you don't believe. I'm going to say that one more time. You can't be what you can't see, and you can't be what you don't believe. I knew from an early age that I wanted to do something that made a difference. I didn't know what it was, I didn't know when it would happen, but having that mindset helped me get to where I am today. I am very proud to call myself a survivor of Springford. And now you are too. I hope that you find your own way in making your mark on the world. And I want to say a special shout out to those who also felt like outsiders in school, who didn't quite fit in. I want you to know that you are not alone. You matter, that it gets better, I promise, and that I believe in you. Class of 2017, congratulations.
Thank you, Yasmin, and welcome home. At this time, I'm privileged to present 2 very prestigious awards. First this evening, I'd like to present the Jacqueline Clark Mauger Award presented to the class salutatorian, Sonal Thiagi. And secondly, I'd like to present the Thomas D. and Jean C. Evans Scholarship to the class valedictorian, Matthew Mott. Congratulations. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you your class president, Billy Strelakis. Billy?
Hello, class of 2017. It's hard to believe that after all this time, the moment when we receive our diplomas, or at least the sheet that will be standing in for our diplomas, is almost at hand. Soon, this one piece of fancy paper is going to entirely change us. With it, we will enter a new era of our lives, one where we can choose when we can have lunch, or at the very least, actually eat it in the afternoon instead of at 10:15 in the morning. In all seriousness, though, the effort we have all put in is about to pay off. I would like to commend you all for making it here, and I would like to thank the administration for creating an environment where we could succeed. While graduation is a time to celebrate our past achievements, I would like to focus on how tonight also marks the beginning of a new future. Now, I know some of you might find that cliche, but the amount of tweets I've seen about how hard it's going to be to adult shows the topic definitely has some merit. For example, if I were to ask you all to raise your hand if you are worried about managing your taxes, I bet I would get a lot of responses. Yet I believe that this difficulty is blown out of proportion. Yes, the future is going to be unfamiliar and even uncertain. However, part of the reason these changes seem so scary is ironically the reason we want those diplomas so much: independence. We are so obsessed with the idea of being independent that we forget how often we need to rely on others. Just look at one of the prominent pictures of success we as a society hold: the idea of self-made success. The idea of the self-made man or woman is huge, with many successes bragging about how they made it to the top through just hard work and perseverance. They'll fail to mention how they too needed to rely on others, whether it was for a big break, support, or assistance. While hard work is important, at the same time you will have to depend on others to get through life as well. Heck, just to deliver this speech, I needed a large amount of you guys to vote me in as president. The truth is, depending on people is more natural than you think. The main reason I made it through high school was because I found people I could rely on and trust. And no matter how cliquey you think high school is, I've seen a caring community develop here as well. We've all helped each other grow as people. Our friends have supported us and helped us reach what we thought we couldn't do on our own. And the immense talent pool in our class has helped inspire us to go out and do our best. The FPC can tell you that the class of 2017 will be spreading across the nation. And even though we are armed with newfangled technology, like social media and cell phones, I would be lying if I said that we as a group will ever reunite at the same level we are at now. This may leave you feeling a bit sad over what seems like an inevitable loss of friends and support. However, I, for one, prefer to look on the bright side and instead see this as a chance to be inspired. While some people remain constants in our lives, it's also true that many new people will come into our lives. It's hard to believe, but we aren't the only high school class graduating this year. Many people will try to paint these fellow grads as competitors for jobs and opportunities. Don't believe this mentality. Instead, get to know these people, help each other learn, grow, and succeed. Through meeting these new faces, you'll not only create new memories and friends, but you'll find a way to recreate our old supportive community and keep it alive. Throughout our years at Springford, we've become much better not only because of the excellent education, but because we supported and pushed each other. Let yourself connect and open up with those who will soon be around you, and soon you will begin to build the same kinds of bonds and trust we share here. While every one of us graduates may be unsure of ourselves at times, knowing we can rely on others will not just push us past our fears, but push us to our greatest potential. So while we will all be receiving a diploma tonight, we'll also be receiving something much greater: an opportunity to not only grow ourselves, but help others grow as well, and most importantly, an opportunity to keep the connection alive. But before it's time for us to go our separate ways, I'd first like to introduce someone who will soon be working to ensure his class carries on the feeling of connection. It is my pleasure to present the keys of the school to the president of the class of 2018, Gage Worrell.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Billy. I respectfully accept these keys on behalf of the junior class. The class of 2017 has impressed us with the tremendous talents they possess in a variety of areas. They've exhibited artistic, athletic, and academic skills of great magnitude. We wish you all the very best and will work hard to live up to the standards that you have set for us. Congratulations, class of 2017.
Thank you, Gage, and best of luck as you lead the class of 2018. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Joe Cerisi, the current president of the Spring-Ford Area School District Board of Directors. Mr. Cerisi.
Thank you, and good evening, graduates, class of 2017. Good evening to the parents, the family, and the friends who are here tonight. The program does say that I'm the president of the school board, but more importantly, tonight, I'm a parent, just like everyone in the stands, or Danny's dad. Make sure Danny pays attention, please, who's ever sitting next to him. Today marks a new chapter, a chapter that will be one of the most important journeys of your lives. I spent the last 13 years watching most of you grow up. A lot of you in our homes, playing on the soccer fields, crying, moaning, eating all the food in the house, but that's beside the point. For the parents, I think you could all relate. We all remember the first day of kindergarten when we followed the school bus. How many of us did that? To every stop. And we were worried about them all getting off that bus, weren't we? Well, I watched my son go into the school with a big smile on his face while my wife and I cried. But tonight is about the journey that you all went through. We were there for all of you, cheering at your baseball games, your basketball games, your soccer games, sitting through the elementary school concerts. Parents, our babies have grown up. Tonight they become the young men and women. We watched them be the little boys and girls, but now they're matured. They studied countless hours to get here tonight for their achievements and to receive both in curricular and extracurricular areas. And they become independent thinkers who are about to shape the world. This is what happens in life. Now, we've heard a lot about life tonight and about your journey. Now, my speech just continues with the whole life journey. Life is about always growing and changing. But in order to get the most out of life, you have to live life and be present in life. You must be able to love and be loved. And yes, at times your heart will get broken, but that's what life's about. You must be able to give back and ask for nothing in return. And yes, you will get burnt at times, but that's what life is about. You must be able to serve your community, your religious institutions, your local sports teams, be coaches, school board members, and serve our great nation and move society forward. And yes, you will be disliked, believe me, at times, but that's what life is about. Life is precious, and we need to live every day to the fullest and be responsible while we're living each day. As I reflect on this chapter of your lives closing, I see the future. I see young women and men who are going to go out and be world-renowned scientists and doctors curing disease, lawmakers who will help those who can't help themselves, teachers who will bring the gift of education to countless student community members, who will coach and serve their boards, parents who will care and love their children. Always remember this: take risk. Because without risk, you wouldn't have known what happened or what could have been. Help change a life. Love your family, and never forget who raised you. Do all this, and then you will experience life. As many of you know this, and you've heard over the years, I have a passion for music. Now, I know most of you thought I was a football player, but my passion has always been the arts and music. While I support them all, that's what I thank God for it, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for music. So tonight I'm going to quote a great artist who once lived, and I may even sing it. Frank Sinatra. Some of you may have heard of him, especially the parents here. They may have heard of him, although they're young too. Frank Sinatra sung a song called "That's Life." And in the last lyric of his song, he says, I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up, down, over, and out, and I know one thing. Each time I find myself laying flat on my face, I just pick myself up and go back in the race. That's life. When life knocks you down, get back up. Pick yourself up. We never know how many times you're going to be knocked down in life. Keep getting up. Never take no as an answer. Keep fighting for what you know is right. You don't succeed on the first time. You may not succeed on the 50th time, but you will succeed if you drive forward. Pick yourself up when you're flat on your face. Clean yourself off and always get back in that race. Know that we here in Springford will never forget you. We'll always be there to pick you up and to put you back in the race. We're proud of each and every one of you. And son, I have to say to you, especially tonight, that your mother and I are extremely proud of you and love you, but you won't be home till you're 29. You're always welcome to be home, but 29's pushing it, because I know Banani will eat us out of house and home. On behalf of the Board of Education, the members of the community, the administration, we want to congratulate each and every one of you and want you to know that you will always have a home here in Springford, and you will always be a Springford Ram. Congratulations, class of 2017.
Thank you, Mr. Cerisi. I invite Dr. Gooden to join me. Dr. Gooden, all of the students seated before you this evening have met and passed all of the requirements of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Springford Board of School Directors and are certified to receive a Springford Area High School diploma. I present to you the class of 2017.
Thank you, Dr. Nugent. Good evening, graduates, families, friends, school board members, faculty, staff. I'm honored to be here this evening to say a few words to the class of 2017. Once again, I started this year speaking to a group of new teachers, and I asked them to write down exactly what they were feeling at the moment. I then asked them to keep that note card in a safe place and pull it out in 10 years. And that if upon reading the card in 10 years, they did not feel the same as they did on their first day about their chosen career, then they should consider leaving the profession. Today, you're graduating from high school. How do you feel right now? Come on now, how do you feel right now? That's more like it. Do you feel excited about what the future holds? Do you anticipate tomorrow? Do you have dreams about what the future holds? I challenge you to hold on to that feeling and never let go of your dreams. The world is full of possibilities for you, and nothing can stop you. Let me tell you a little story that I recently read. The question was once asked of a highly successful businessman, "How have you done so much in your lifetime?" And he replied, "I grow great by dreams. I have turned my mind loose to imagine what I wanted to do. Then I've gone to bed and thought about my dreams. And in the night, I dream about my dreams. And when I awoke in the morning, I saw the way to make my dreams real. While other people were saying, 'You can't do that, it's impossible,' I was well on my way to achieving what I wanted." Woodrow Wilson, our 28th president, said, "We grow great by dreams. All big men are dreamers." If you really believe something, put effort toward achieving that dream, and don't let anyone steal those dreams or try to tell you that they are impossible. I want to remind you that you have been taught not only how to make a living, but also how to live. There are no substitutes for hard work and determination, and that is exactly what is needed to make your dreams a reality. I also remind you that personal character is not an optional on the road you're about to travel. Character is everything and will be the only lasting thing you'll ever be remembered for. This evening, you will graduate from Springfield Area Senior High School. You will leave behind friends and teachers. It is my hope that you will not leave behind the lessons you've learned about the merits of hard work and determination. So it is my honor to congratulate you this evening on the first of many accomplishments. Well done, class of 2017. Thank you.
Okay. Matthew Mahendra Mauk.
Sonal Thiagi.
Matthew M. Abruzzo.
Rachel Elizabeth Adams.
Jacob Hugh Adamson.
Jane Oluwatundu Akintoye.
Leanter Albert III.
Juliana Marie Alessandroni.
Brett H. Aldinger.
Emily Carol Amit.
Christopher Joseph Aldinger.
Elizabeth James Andrews.
Kevin Patrick Alexander.
Allison Rose Angelucci.
Kyle David Allen.
Emily Elizabeth Archie.
Jacob Ryan Alloway.
Jala Carissa Iden.
Michael Francis Aquilante Jr.
Sierra Marie Batesel.
Chase Armour.
Rebecca Elizabeth Baum.
William James Volpe Jr.
Shelby J. Barber.
Kyle R. Reed.
Olivia Ann Reardon.
Jared Arthur Moyer.
Brooke Carissa Barkley.
Brendan Joseph McGill.
Coretta L. Bearden.
Brandon C. Arnett.
Ashley Lynn Berry.
Emmanuel E. Asensio.
Angela Marie Bird.
Alan Babbitt Jr.
Kyrian Elizabeth Bittner.
Aiden James Baker.
Ala Lynn Bono.
Samuel A. Barletta.
Jessica Maureen Bono.
Patrick Thomas Bartash.
Vivian Caroline Boyd.
Manish V. Bayana.
Madeline F. Boyer.
Ryan I. Bennett.
Danny Joe Bazzelli.
Warren N. Birch.
Gabrielle Marie Bazzi.
Reed Alexander Black.
Andrea C. Briscoe.
Joshua J. Benani.
Paige Maureen Bryant.
Connor Stephen Boham.
Abigail Elizabeth Buckley.
Seaver William Bonowitz.
Mercy D. Bush.
Matthew William Booth.
Amanda Rose Bird.
Nicholas Dale Brower.
Talia Cheyenne Carcari.
Brody R. Brock.
Anne Marie Carter.
Stephen Nelson Brooks.
Nicole M. Carter.
Isaiah C. Brown.
Samantha E. Casamento.
Matthew Alex Burkett.
Jennifer Chai.
Nathan W. Butler.
McKenna R. Chandler.
Dylan James Cafone.
Alexa B. Ciano.
Casey James Callahan.
Jenna Nicole Sobolski.
Noah William Cancro.
Kaylin A. Sicipio.
Philip T. Kerr.
Sophia Isabella Cinti.
David John Cantello.
Megan Elizabeth Clancy.
Christopher S. Carbone.
JC Ann Clerco.
Daniel George Carr.
Elizabeth Ann Collins.
Stephen J. Cartwright.
Alyssa B. Conway.
Daniel Patrick Cassidy.
Taylor Elise Cornish.
John Paul Luke Chevrier.
Nicole Victoria Costello.
Jared C. Chrisman.
Emily T. Crockett.
Daniel Joseph Cerisi.
Riley Kate Crozier.
Brian C. Clark.
Erica V. Cruz.
Aiden F. Clark.
Lyric M. Daly Green.
Jacob Andrew Cornish.
Olivia Leanne Dandridge.
Cameron Salvador Catania.
Niev Margaret Dawson.
Bradley Allen Clemens.
Serena Gabrielle Daywalt.
Marquise Rishon Corbett.
Paige Elizabeth Dialba.
Jacob R. Coyne.
Catalina Marie Delaquila.
Peter V. Crescitelli.
Abigail Rose Del Romano.
Kevin M. Christ.
Alyssa Kaylin Damaz.
Terrence John Cruikshank.
Aubrey Reynolds Demedio.
Michael J. Dampf.
Frederique Bella Demito.
Benjamin David Dewan.
Abigail R. Deneen.
Daniel Joseph Doherty.
Mia Ann DeFilippo.
Charles W. Drummond III.
Hannah Marie Deschamps.
Elliot James D'Antonio.
Christina Gabrielle Diana.
James L. Dunwoody.
Elise Noel DiGiuseppe.
Gary Allen Eder III.
Yanira J. Dogan.
Ryan A. Egbert.
Victoria Lee Drummer.
Connor Paul Evans.
Brianna Dominique Eaton.
Brandon Berkeley Fike.
Paige Danielle Eckhoff.
Thomas Fern.
Mary Elizabeth Enger.
Michael Patrick Ferrer.
Kaylee Marie Evans.
Trevor J. Ferry.
Madison Shea Everingham.
Joshua Fedorov.
Cameron Kate Ferry.
Ryan Joseph Fitzpatrick.
Kelly Ann Fetterman.
Owen M. Fox.
Abigail Grace Files.
William J. Frazier.
Shakisha Denise Fisher.
Thomas D. Freed.
Lauren Marie Fitzpatrick.
Zamir A. Frisbee.
Hannah Lynn Flood.
Brian E. Funk.
Morgan Elizabeth Flynn.
Andrew M. Galella.
Sarah Elizabeth Flynn.
Patrick J. Gallagher.
Shelby Lynn Fox.
Jack Anthony Garrow.
Emily M. France.
Ian Michael Garonsky.
Grace Hannah Galelli.
John Clayton Gaiman.
Sarah Catherine Gentilati.
Adam J. Jaremski.
Christina Emily Garretts.
Jeremy Braden Gibson.
Kayla Marie Gibson.
Matthew David Gibson.
Nina E. Giovinco.
Isaiah A. Glasgow.
Lucy Lee Glovier.
Mason Christopher Green.
Erin Lee Gobiel.
Corey Patrick Gill.
Allison Michelle Goldstein.
Andrew Thomas Giovinco.
Brittany Marie Grant.
Alexander Robert Glinsky.
Julia Marie Gray.
Ethan James Goldman.
Cameron Lee Greco.
Richard S. Graham Jr.
Hannah Patricia Grillo.
Oscar Joel Granice.
Gabriella Guevara.
Samuel Rudolph Granieri.
Sophia Jane Haas.
Andrew S. Goulden.
Brianna Mary Haynes.
Zachary Vijay Gugule.
Jennifer Lee Hamilton.
Shay Edward Lee Hegg.
Madison Haney.
Aaron Paul Haas.
Kimberly Ann Harley.
Zarel Ross Hampton.
Caitlin Ann Hart.
Keaton Christopher Hauk.
Emily Catherine Hart.
Vincent A. Hagman.
Miranda R. Harvey.
David Lawrence Hawks.
Sierra L. Hasse.
Zachary Taylor Hayes.
Sage Claire Helverson.
Jaya Ryan Haycock.
Madeline Ann Herman.
Scott Robert Haney.
Victoria Grace Hoffner.
Ethan Q. Helberg.
Emma Lynn Holliday.
Nicholas Christian Heller.
Naya Rose Howell.
Tyler James Helmuth.
Emily Victoria Innes.
Brendan Philip Hilferty.
Melanie Ann Jacobson.
Zachary Thomas Hilbert.
Catherine Rose Johns.
Tyler Brian Holmes.
Alea Kimberly Johnson.
Ryan Keith Hahnemann.
Madison Ann Johnson.
Evan M. Horrocks.
Sarah M. Johnson.
Zachary Vincent Hotzer.
Cameron Noel Jones.
Thomas F. Hughes.
Allison E. Jordan.
Dominic Michael Hunzinger.
Brianna R. Karwoski.
Michael Reed Hyduk.
Taylor Nicole Keckler.
Anthony Patrick Interante.
Megan Amber Kern.
Tyler Joseph Jordan.
L. Marie Kerrigan.
Alexander C. Julius.
Jillian A. Klein.
Jeffrey A. Karchner.
Laura Jean Klein.
Kenneth Ian Jackson.
Pixie A. Kalesa.
Robert Allen Knoll Jr.
Heather Kathleen Konevsky.
Michael P. Kavanaugh.
Juliet Marie Kraus.
Joseph J. Kearney.
Micah Rachel Lanfear.
David Keller.
Caitlin Lee Lafferty.
Ryan P. Kippa.
Alexandra Marie Lasky.
Kyle C. Cleese.
Amanda Grace Laser.
Henry Robinson Clyte.
Kaya Kirkshay Little.
Sean Michael Lafferty.
Allison Maria Ludman.
Richard Allen Lambert Austin.
Bridget Ann Major.
Jordan G. Lanzoni.
Nicole Marie Major.
Connor Patrick Larkin.
Liana Olivia Mail.
Raymond S. Laubert III.
Samantha Elizabeth Malazzi.
Raymond Tyler Lawrence.
Caitlin Alexis Manning.
Richard Edmiston Ledig.
Rutendo V. Manieka.
Eric J. Liedermeyer.
Isabella Marchini.
Michael A. Leto.
Alyssa Joelle Markey.
Donovan A. Levine.
Courtney L. Marty.
Justin A. Lorenz.
Savannah Alexis Mason.
Martin L. Magazzolo II.
Melissa A. Matthias.
Brent Matthew Mann.
Sarah Rose Matoni.
Christopher J. Mann.
Sarah Ann Maxwell.
Jacob J. Manso.
Kayla Elizabeth May.
Anthony Monona Marino.
Morgan C. Mazars.
Jonathan Edward Madera.
Maggie Elizabeth McConney.
Landon C. Marsh.
Eliza Ann McCormick.
Genobi Anthony Martin.
Laura Elizabeth McDermott.
Alexander Gordon Matthews.
Bailey E. McGrory.
Gregory Thomas Maxey.
Erin Elizabeth McKenna.
Ian Nicholas McCabe.
Sarah Jane McKernan.
Walter J. McCann.
Emma C. McKinley.
Sean Thomas Mayhew.
Molly Shannon McMahon.
Quinn P. McKenna.
Lauren Nicole Mensch.
Scott McLaughlin Jr.,
Rachel Lynn Michaels.
Robert James Mead,
Peyton Riley Mikulich.
Sean T. Meeker,
Kirsten Elizabeth Miller.
Adam Michael Magella,
Morgan Hamilton Miller.
Spencer A. Mead,
Rebecca Caitlin Malicious.
Eduardo B. Melendez Jr.,
Melissa Taylor Moore.
Noah M. Mellon,
Greta Elizabeth Motter.
Christopher Jarrett Milam,
Nia O. Muhammad.
Wesley C. Miller,
Kaylin Marie Murphy.
Christopher John Minnick Jr.,
Carly Rose Murray.
Aiden A. Monterre,
Caroline Victoria Meyer.
Ryan Joseph Monty,
Solimar Navarez Rosario.
Cameron Reese Moore,
Julia Wanyeri Nagore.
Ryan Matthew Moore,
Sophia Suwon Win.
Timothy Ambrose Moran,
Mallory P. Noble.
Adam John Moritz,
Kylie D. Nolan.
Brody Donovan Morrow,
Alexis Ann Nugent.
Nicholas Patrick Murphy,
Michaela Jean O'Byrne.
Dawson Daniel Moss,
Casey Ann Oliverson.
John T. Muffler,
Valerie M. Onifer.
Zachary Armando Musetti,
Josephine Lucinda Perez.
Lucas M. Nadwadny,
Emma Lindsay Peterman.
William N. Wing.
Tara Ann Pfeiffer.
Gabriel A. Nimchuk.
Jenna Lynn Plitnick.
John Paul Nimchuk II.
Olivia Clarice Poling.
Sendrum Neradini.
Valerie L. Polvino.
Patrick John O'Brien.
Allison C. Pareca.
Ryan James Obson.
Marissa Allison Post.
Andrew Ryan O'Connor.
Claire M. Reguel.
Joseph Robert Oleski.
Alyssa Nicole Reif.
Raymond Patrick Orcutt.
Sarah Pauline Rimmel.
Callum A. Orm.
Meredith Marie Orm.
Gareth A. Orm.
Katie J. Robinson.
Emilio A. Ortiz.
Faith A. Rogers.
Brian Michael Osterman.
Zuri Nicole Romandrews.
Chase Allen Parr.
Rachel Marie Rush.
J. S. Patel.
Ashley Camille Russell.
Connor Nicholas Peck.
Bridget Colleen Ryan.
Zachary Philip Fanders.
Arden M. Sanford.
Michael J. Ottaviano.
Rayanne P. Chalice-Works.
Eric Page Jr.
Kaylee Morgan Shire.
Justin Pasquini.
Madison Susan Shatawi.
Tate Stephen Pijanowski.
Stephanie Eileen Schweitzer.
Brett Pinto.
Devin Marie Shalingo.
Maxwell Robert Piston.
Samantha C. Soifer.
Adrian Ponce.
Jenna Michelle Shepard.
Patrick D. Power.
Bailey Neva Shout.
Zachary T. Prosciutti.
Emily C. Schuler.
Nicholas Joseph Price.
Macy Joan Slifer.
Peter Anthony Quain.
Brooke Lynn Smith.
Griffin David Rako.
Jasmine Paige Smith.
John Christopher Reed.
Paige E. Smith.
Drew Kirby Rayoum.
Cassandra Marie Soulsby.
Zachary S. Poley.
Sarah Nicole Soulsby.
Joseph A. Raimundi IV.
Gina F. Spadia.
Keyshawn Ram.
Caitlin Amberly Stewart.
Alec Michael Ridings.
Constance Cheyenne Stein.
Sam Ryan Roberts.
Alexis Lee Strunk.
Aiden John Roberts Shank.
Katrina Marie Sullivan.
Eric Manuel Rodriguez.
Samantha E. Sullivan.
Aaron M. Romano.
Anya G. Sweeney.
Tanner Jack Romano.
Abigail Jacqueline Sykes.
Arturo Emiliano Rosas.
Antoinette Marie Sapansky.
John Matthew Rochelle.
Michaela Ann Teets.
Raymond Samuel Patrick Ramsher III.
Rosaria Maria Termini.
Michael Anthony Rossi.
Kelly Jane Tufel.
Dalton D. Rothenberger.
Alyssa Ann Tamala.
David J. Russell.
Jenna Renee Tomarelli.
Samuel J. Rakowski.
Alora Jean Tui.
Nicholas J. Salomon.
Brianna Lee Updegrove.
Chandler Allen Salutrick.
Claire Ann Vance.
Michael Joseph Sandy Jr.
Ashley D. Vanilla.
Stone P. Scarcelli.
Sophia Rose Vermouth.
Justin Scarpula.
McKenna N. Vittori.
Marcus Ray Schlechter.
Quinana Tracy Vu.
Riley Patrick Schmidt.
Sydney Catherine Wagner.
Joseph M. Santoro.
Cameron Kendall Walker.
Corey Jacob Scheck.
Camille Valentina Ward.
Matthew David Schweitzer.
Grace E. Worrell.
Jacob Eric Sigletis.
Maria A. Walters.
Harrison Franklin Seifert.
Samantha R. Watkin.
Neil G. Sekawat.
Kira Chantel Welch.
Daniel Fortunato Sinise.
Skylar Renee Wellington.
Ryan Patrick Sarago.
Madeline Kelly Wendler.
Jason A. Severoni.
Taylor Renee Williams.
Hatham Shaban.
Samantha Renee Winterstein.
Ryan W. Shane.
Victoria I. Yeager.
Logan R. Shaner.
Margaret May Yenchek.
Brian P. Shank.
Lauren Nicole Young.
Adam Charles Sharkey.
Samantha Lynn Weidman.
Alexander Sheeler.
Morgan Alyssa Young.
Burke E. Schultz Jr.
Rebecca Lynn Young.
Michael J. Cecilia.
Abby May Zollers.
Selwyn Hugh Simpson II.
Sarah Elizabeth Zollers.
Noah William Slabaugh. Kyle William Slinkman. Chad D. Smiley. Christopher R. Smith. Tyler Joseph Smith. Christopher Leo Spence. James W. Stanfield. Thomas Alexander Strukoff. Eric Samuel Sykes. Jackson James Supina. Benjamin Ryan Tadeo. Austin John Taylor. Zaire Q. Thompson. Luke Matthew Thurston. James Robert Tobin. Joseph Charles Tozlowski III.
Andrew Michael Trobman. Joshua J. Tumulty. Sean Robert Tumulty. Brian Matthew Trainer. Brendan S. Turner. Nathan William Vadalana. Brandon N. Velasquez. Adam M. Vittori. Matthew Eugene Valet Jr. Eric Joseph Vivian. Bryce R. Volker. Shay R. Walton. Richard Joseph Ward IV. Cole Malone Webb. Nicholas J. Wiesner. James Parrish Wessler. Jack Mahoney Wilson. Christopher Neil White. Eric Christopher Wise. David C. Walkley. James Timothy Wong. Colton James Wonder.
Deshaun T. Winder. Ryan J. Yanolovich. Lucas Andrew Yasich. Brandon Philip Yerger. Frank E. Yetnick III. Jacob Maxwell Zoller.
Alex M. Powers. Anthony Michael DeBundo. William J. Strelepkis.